Jessica. Today is Monday, December 16th. So I don't entirely relate to your situation about relationships. I think this is because most of my friends in college and the people who talk to me about relationships are men. Which is funny because in high school you were like, Lindsay, you don't have a single male friend. And I was like, haha, you're right. And then I went to college and I was like, hey, apparently guys are really good friends. I think like from that perspective, being on like the guy side, it's usually not like, but I love him, but he did this, but I still love him, but I did this. It's more like, hey, I'm with my girlfriend, and then it's like, hey, I'm single now. And then it's like, hey, I'm with my girlfriend. And like, you don't have to go through that like process with them of being like, are you okay? Like, let me help you get through this. Like, to a degree, you do. I don't want to be super like stereotypical about genders, but in my experience with my guy friends, they're like, oh, we broke up, that sucks. And the next day they're like, hey, but I'm talking to this girl, isn't that cool? And I'm like, yeah, good job. And that's like the process of mourning. And for that, I think I've really come to value my male friends. Obviously, when anyone gets in a relationship, it changes the dynamic of a friendship, especially a friendship between a male and a female. Me and my guy friends in college, we kept it as platonic can be. All of them. Like, I was really good about it, and so were they, and like, I don't even think any of us wanted it, which was great. But every time that they'd bring a girlfriend into the mix, I had to be more careful. I'm not a flirty person, I'm not a touchy person, but if I wanted to like give them a hug or like, I don't know, like just say really inappropriate things to them because it's funny, I could. But then when their girlfriend's there, it's like, oh, hey, I'll see you later. And like, you can't cross those boundaries. And that's really frustrating because a lot of people's girlfriends don't trust their female friends. But if their girlfriends knew me, they would realize that I don't want that. And they don't want that. And it was like so platonic that it wasn't even funny. I guess my point in that is that relationships do affect the dynamic between friends. And it's really selfish of someone to be like, hey, I'm in a relationship now. And then 2 weeks later, like, I need you to console me. We broke up. He's terrible. And then 2 weeks later, like, we can't hang out anymore. I have a boyfriend. It's the same boyfriend. And then another week later, but he's a dick. And like, that's really unfair to the friend who has no say in the relationship, but apparently has to be there at the blink of an eye when something goes wrong. I don't have any female friends who are like that. The female friends that I do have, they're either super logical about their relationships or they don't want relationships. And either way, like, I can respect that. And I don't get annoyed by it because there's nothing worse than like a girl who's constantly in a relationship and constantly complaining about their relationship. And why the fuck are you in a relationship? Just stop being stupid. But speaking of valuing men, there are 3 really important men in my life who are having birthdays today and tomorrow. So the first is my dad, who, even though in high school and middle school, I didn't consider him like one of the strongest men in the world. But the more that I think about it and him and his life, he's legitimately one of the strongest people I've ever met. And I am so grateful that he's my dad because I feel like I've gotten so much more of a perspective from being his daughter. Today's also my brother's birthday. My brother's was like my best friend all throughout childhood. When you're homeschooled, you don't really have a lot of choices for friends. But I still think I would have chosen him as my best friend even if I was in school. I feel like we kind of need each other. So at the end of the day, I know that if I need to call him or he needs to call me, I can and he can. And even though we're really, really fucking different, we really respect each other. And I appreciate that he respects me, and I think he appreciates that I respect him. So happy birthday to my brother, who is 25. Like, what the fuck? Tomorrow is Tony's birthday. And Tony is probably like the most important male figure in my life who isn't related to me. I'm like more grateful than anything that I met him because he like taught me how to be myself. I don't think he realized this when we were friends, and I feel like I kind of to a degree did the same for him, but when we hung out together, we got to just be ourselves to the most extreme. And I'd be like, hey, this is Tony, this is how Tony is, and he'd be like, this is how Lindsay is. And then we're like, bam, when we're together, we're fucking great. Tony, I miss you. Come to Michigan. Don't be a dick and pretend you're gonna come, but actually come. But don't come like that. So men, I like them. I like knowing them. I like hanging out with them. And I like dealing with their relationship problems way more than dealing with girl relationship problems. I'll see you on Friday. Bye.